Good morning. Chairman Miller, Ranking Member McKeon, members of the committee, thank you for inviting me to speak today about the state-led Common Standards initiative that is currently being guided by the Council of Chief State School Officers and the National Governors Association. Voluntary state collaboration to develop a common core of high standards is an idea whose time has truly come. I come to you today in dual roles, as the lead education officer in my home state of Arkansas and as president of the Council of Chief State School Officers. In both of these positions, I have witnessed not only widespread support for state-led common standards, but a sincere belief that states must lead this process. CCSSO and NGA began to facilitate a dialogue around this topic over 2 years ago. Significant progress was made during this period, and a number of states are now poised to join a voluntary state-led standards process which adheres to several key principles. First and foremost, this is a voluntary state-led effort to establish a common core of standards across the states. Let me be clear, this is not an effort to establish federal standards. The effort to establish a common core will build directly on the recent work of leading states and initiatives that have focused on college and career-ready standards. Leading states will be called upon to participate and add their knowledge to the standard-setting process. And it's expected that these leading states, based upon that prior work, will be the furthest along in terms of the adoption of these standards. Furthermore, no state will see their standards lowered, and I think that's a key piece that each and every one of us need to clearly embrace. Oftentimes the perception is when you come about a common effort, then the net effect is lowering of standards. That is not what this topic and conversation is about. Rather, the purpose of the common state standards is to raise the bar for all states by drawing on the best research and evidence from leading states and experts regarding, among other things, college and work readiness, rigorous knowledge and skills, and international benchmarking. In March, President Obama made a visit to the Council of Chief State School Officers, our annual legislative meeting here in D.C. The state chiefs were not only honored by the President's appearance, but more importantly, were enthused by his support of a state-led common standards movement. This support of a state-led approach in addressing this important issue was also echoed later in that same meeting by Secretary of Education Arne Duncan. 2 weeks ago, in a monumental event, in my opinion, after serving as a chief for 5 years, 41 states gathered in Chicago to begin to talk about what this might look like, looking at the areas of mathematics and English language arts. I'm pleased to report that my colleagues, after a great deal of conversation and with representatives from their governor's offices, were excited to be engaged in this conversation. We were also joined by representatives from Achieve, the College Board, ACT, and the National Governors Association. That makes 41 states and many key stakeholders expressing a strong interest in the pursuing of this goal of common standards. Realizing that not all states will be able to immediately commit to this endeavor, I was still extremely impressed and encouraged by the breadth of interest across this country. As the Arkansas Commissioner of Education, I've witnessed another level of support for common standards. On April the 10th, we gathered in Little Rock to talk about the American Recovery Act. We had 1,100 people gathered to talk about that and to look at ways to spend that money. After 2 hours of intense dialogue, I'm happy to tell you that after I announced I was going to Chicago to talk about state-led standards, the room erupted in applause. That was really the only applause we had during that entire conversation, even though we were talking about a sizable amount of money. But I think that tells you and is very indicative of the broad-based movement in our state as well as other states across this country. Clearly, state-led common standards have the support and excitement of the President, the Secretary of Education, and all the states that I've mentioned to you in terms of the collection that we had in Chicago. Here is why I think people are ready to embrace this initiative. The most basic way to impact student achievement is to meet the demand to guarantee that what is being taught in classrooms in every zip code across this country is both rigorous and relevant. Over the last several years, we've seen states come together with the American Diploma Project and a variety of different things. 15 states have now completed this work, and I'm happy to tell you that Arkansas is one of the 8 states that's a part of the second Career and College Ready Policy Institute that's working diligently right now with Achieve. Every summer, we get teachers together in the state of Arkansas, which is a very, very indicative process across this country, where we bring them together to talk about state standards. What I have done, we had scheduled this summer to talk about English language arts. I have now put that process on hold, given this effort that is underway, because we would be premature to engage in that process before we have a clear-cut direction in terms of what these next steps are going to be. So I'm very excited about that, and our folks in Arkansas are very excited about that. Perhaps you also see the inefficiency of replicating such efforts at least 50 times across this country. This redundancy is another compelling reason for states and for my local educators to want to move forward in this endeavor. Not only is this time-consuming, but each state also has the unnecessary cost that is associated with this time-consuming effort. Let me end by paraphrasing something I heard Intel's Chairman Craig Barrett say on numerous occasions. Business knows no borders. Business and industry will go to a state to where the talent pool is located. Our governor as well, Governor Hunt, talks about economic development and education being inextricably linked. And we need to clearly understand that if we're going to grow our state in Arkansas, we're going to grow this national economy, we have to have an educated workforce. We need to clearly understand that our students need a set of standards that will make them competitive, not only in our states, but across this country and internationally. I thank you for the opportunity again to be with you this morning, and we look forward to engaging in this conversation further as this conversation continues to escalate.